Welcome to Smart Finance 360, the podcast where money matters meet innovative thinking. Every week, we dive deep into the world of finance, exploring trends, debunking myths, and bringing you the latest insights from industry experts. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a financial newbie, or somewhere in between, this is your go-to source for becoming financially savvy. Welcome to another podcast of Smart Finance 360. I'm really excited to have Brady Humphreys here with PMI Home Team. They're a great property management company nationwide. Probably one of the top that I've seen as far as, for you, Brady, how many divisions, branches nationwide do you think you guys manage?
Yeah, so we have a little over 400 locations across the United States.
Wow,
And between all 400 of us, we're managing 135,000 units. That could be association, that could be residential, that could be commercial, and even short-term rentals.
That's great. So that means you guys are helping out not only just with the actual property management, but you help with the homeowner association. You can help with the acquisition on property, selling. What got you specifically into this? What was your journey of becoming a property management? You say that you're the manager out here in Davis County, Utah?
Yes. Yeah, so I'm the co-owner. There's two of us that own PMI Home Team. I got started, long time ago when I tried to do it myself with no property manager, and we can discuss that a little bit later. Yeah. But I spent many years in the medical field, and COVID came around, and I needed to make a change because some things were happening.
Yeah,
and I knew real estate is where I wanted to be, especially because it allows for a reoccurring revenue stream and allows you to help people.
Yes.
You're either helping them purchase their first home and turn it into a rental, maybe a basement into a rental, or you're helping them grow their portfolio. So I knew I could do that.
It's so interesting as far as how I've seen things, because I kind of have a similar background as, I wanted to become a dentist or an orthodontist, and now I'm in mortgages and finance. It's so weird how things happen. Did you always kind of have an interest in real estate? What kind of got you towards property management?
Definitely. Even though my first experience 20 years ago was absolute horrible mess, I knew that I wanted to get into real estate at some point. Especially, I wanted to do it to help, my posterity. I wanted to build something that was going to be, financial wealth for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, what's so cool is the education piece of how real estate can really change 10x people's net worth. It's crazy, the statistics that you've seen, that just by owning one house, it's like double.
Correct.
The person's their net worth. So for you, property management for me is so important because I've had so many bad experiences when I try to do it myself. So kind of give the pros of using a property management company, whether it be, let's just say locally and also nationwide. So let's start with local. What is something that just really helps out having a property manager?
Well, I guess maybe, think about this for a minute. How many emergencies did you have? Did you ever have a flood in the basement?
Yeah, and always in the worst time.
Yeah.
Like Christmas Eve, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. Or nothing's worse than Thanksgiving. They call you and their oven's broken. You've ruined their Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And nobody's open.
And
it's not like
it's not nobody's open. It's like, I'm just the common guy that happens to have a rental. I don't have these relationships.
Correct.
That's the thing I think I love about you guys. You probably have a list of good workers that are in different fields, different trades that are willing to work with you. But for you guys specifically, how does the setup work?
Yeah,
you guys.
So it's, we can handle everything A to Z. And, it's probably the same thing with mortgages. You guys take it in, you do all the paperwork, you handle it. One of the biggest problems that I see a lot of new landlords is they try to find their own tenant and they don't go through the proper screening.
Yes.
They don't do a background check, or maybe they don't do a credit check. Yeah. They don't know how to do it. And then they let someone in because they say, I'm a good renter. We hear it daily. And unfortunately, that's not how it is. Not everybody is a good renter.
It's true. It's true.
It's kind of sad because you want to trust people. You want to be good, and when someone comes to you and you're renting your own house, you kind of have that empathy tied to it.
Yes.
And so I think a lot of people kind of skip those steps. And what we try to do is we try to eliminate the risk. That's our goal. How do I eliminate the risk for this landlord?
Yeah, I love that. Not only are you eliminating risk, you're taking out the emotional.
Yes.
Like you said, Like for me, one of my rental properties, dude, that grass when I bought it was terrible. It was yellow, patchy, and I'm the man who likes my grass. I like good green grass. I like to mow my lawn on Saturdays. I look forward to it. I got this yard pristine. It was perfect. I was even willing, like, turn on the water. I'll pay for it. I don't care. Like with the renters I had, I'm like, I just make sure you have it on. Guess what?
Yep.
They neglect it.
It died.
It all died. And I'm busy, so I'm not checking.
Nope.
I'm just, I had a great conversation with them. They've been great, and they like me, and I like them. And drove by one day. It was like they were in Arizona.
Yeah.
It was gone. I was so mad, so disappointed because I worked so hard on my yard, and now it's this weeded, terrible yard. So I think that piece as well, as far as like, it was a very emotional response for me because I worked so hard in that house.
Yeah, you did.
Also, even just like little things like you're nicking my walls, which they should. I mean, you're going to have nicks, just wear and tear, right? But for me, it's like, how dare you? It's a brand new cabinet. You know what I mean? So I love that having a property manager in there can not only help the owner be a little more level-headed in certain situations, they also can monitor that as well, and they're actually managing the property. And I think you made a really great point about something goes out on Thanksgiving, you guys have something immediately to help them. So, I mean, that locally I think is amazing. Now for nationwide, what would be a good way to use a nationwide company like PMI?
Yeah, so there's lots of resources with having a nationwide company. So you've got the mom pop feel of us being local, but we've got the nationwide backing. If something happens, and trust me, every day I'm still learning.
Oh yeah.
Something comes up that I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Yes.
I have a team that I can call and I can discuss with them. Have you ever been through this? And then we can kind of sit down and.
Great. So you have a community network of others that have seen different scenarios, and being able to go nationwide is great because let's be honest, for right now, at least in the Utah market, if you're going to buy an investment property, you're probably going to shell over $500,000.
Yeah, you are.
That's just what you are. But you could buy in Ohio, where you can find a decent house for $250,000. I'm talking like 2005, 2006, good house, good bones, and get a good return on your investment. Speaking of ROIs, you guys mentioned you got some really cool technology at PMI. Kind of explain a little breakdown of what you can evaluate and help someone who's looking to buy an investment property.
Yeah, so we've partnered with a company called Discover, and Discover allows you to find investment properties that will give you a rate of return. I'm currently going through the process. They're on my website now, but I'm actually going to get trained. I got a 3-day course that I'm going through. I'm excited for it because I'm going to learn to break down all the numbers, and I'm kind of a numbers guy.
Yeah, I mean, be able to present that to others.
Yes.
That's what they want. So that's
exactly
cool that they're training you guys to do that.
They do.
To get ahead of the curve, though. That's very cool. So they have all this data for them to see.
Yes.
What's kind of the includes in there on the data for them to pencil in?
Yeah, so it'll tell them exactly how much you should be putting down on this to get the return on investment that you need. It'll actually tell them when they need to sell if they decide that they want to flip it at some point. So at what year? Yeah, I mean, it goes through everything.
Slick.
And it'll also tell you, hey, this is not a good investment right now. You should wait or something like that. Yeah.
So the tech's in place. I also like that the infrastructure is really cool at PMI as far as it's not just sometimes a property manager.
No.
What other professionals that you bring in the mix that you can help provide for these clients if they use, PMI specifically, just because obviously this podcast is about property managers in general, but I'm interviewing you, and what does PMI do for these, clients? What opportunities do they have when they purchase a home with, PMI?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is, especially with our vendors, we talked about that a minute ago. I vet all my vendors. So I've got licensed and insured plumbers. I got licensed and insured electricians, painting, cabinets, you name it, appliances. We've got all those connections. So that's what we can bring to them. And you talked about that. You're like, hey, if something goes out on...
I don't know. I'm calling a plumber guy. I'm Googling it, trying to figure it out.
You're like, oh, he's at the top of the search. That's great.
Yes.
But you've never used him.
Yes. No.
And that's what comes in with being a first-time landlord is you don't have these connections. And so we bring all those connections. We make sure that, the insurance is good on the home. We make sure that the renter's insurance is good. So it's like I discussed before, we're trying to eliminate risk.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about having that risk analysis, because I remember my first time ever doing it without a property manager. I didn't have them get renter's insurance. I had no idea. I mean, I did get insurance for that a unit. I don't know what it was called, what my insurance agent said.
Yeah.
And then they got me like an umbrella policy as well. Thank goodness, I guess, because in case something happened, heaven forbid. But like, I didn't know all the other benefits that, I should have required them to have. And so the fact that you have that, it's the peace of mind. And it changed my life when I had a good property management company take over my properties, because they just do everything professionally.
Yep.
I think that's the biggest thing, is you take out the emotion piece there, but also having the entire arsenal and the army around you to help you be able to do what you do best. Now, if I had a couple of people on a podcast in the past, hey, if this is like your forte and you love it and you want to learn and you want to do it, that's great. Do it yourself. I think my first step, if I loved it, would be like, well, I'm going to work at a company like PMI,
Yeah.
so I could, at least figure and then learn about it. But using a property manager, I would say, is the most important thing if you want to build a portfolio.
Yes.
And if you want to have, I think it's better for renters too. So it's like you said, Thanksgiving,
100%.
I promise you, if they call me on Thanksgiving compared to calling you, you guys are going to have it taken care of.
Yep.
You probably have guys on call for it.
We do.
Stuff like that. It's just I have to preference anyone listening, please, I beg you, if you're gonna get a rental, use a property management company. Tell us a little bit about, because a lot of people that just on the surface level, when I tell them to use one, they're like, what do they charge? I'm gonna lose money. And I say that's very false.
It is.
And the reason is, tell me kind of the reasons. There's a lot.
The biggest problem is they don't investigate the market to see what their rental rate should be.
Yep.
And they just throw something out there. And when I have taken over some properties that have been self-managed, I have found rent as anywhere from $300 to $500 lower than what it should be.
Crazy.
So that alone, if you were to hire me, and obviously we got to let the lease run out, but when the lease runs out, we raise that rent. You've paid for me, and you've taken all the headaches away. So I think that's the biggest thing that I see, with these self-managed, is that the rents are too low. So bringing it on to a property manager, they'll be able to analyze the market. They'll be able to figure out what the rent should be. And then they're going to make sure that all the risk, things to take the risk out is in place, like the tenant insurance.
Yes.
Also making sure they have $100,000 in liability on their tenant insurance. One thing that a lot of landlords don't know is if you have to place a tenant in a hotel, the insurance will cover that.
Yeah, they don't know. I would have known that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a matter of fact, I think I had a client that they had their own. Yeah, I did. I had a client. They just did their own management, and the guy was paying for like entire month for them. If you would have known that.
Yes.
He's just, how much did he end up saving, right?
Yeah.
Saving, air quotations. So, that's just experience is everything on this piece. One thing I want to talk about that you guys rolled out that's really cool, you were mentioning at the top of my head, is transition program.
Yes.
To home ownership. Tell me a little bit about this program. It seems really cool for people transitioning.
Yeah. So obviously, we don't want our tenants to be tenants in their entire life. Some choose, and that's, the way they go, but a majority of them would like to be homeowners at some point. So what we do is at 90 days before their lease expires, we call them up and say, what's your plan? Would you like to start looking for a home, or would you like to re-sign on the dotted line for another year lease? And I'm sure, one of the things that you guys talk about is, if you're paying rent, that's 100% interest.
Yep. Out the door, it's gone.
But if you're paying a 6.5% interest on a home that's yours and gaining equity and a lot of other things. So our hopes is that we can transition as many as we can to home ownership and then to landlord.
Yeah. Oh, that's
okay.
Cool.
So if we have a good enough relationship with these tenants, and we try to do our best on taking care of things, me and Johnny on the spot, then they're going to buy from us several ways, and then we're going to help create a portfolio of wealth.
See, that's what's incredible about that is they learn from experience.
Correct.
Not just experience from being the professional, but being the consumer.
Yes.
So they're learning from experience, seeing how great it is to have a property manager. Then they go out and they learn how to buy and invest, and then you teach them to do the same thing that you've done. That's such a cool program. I love that about you guys. Another thing you mentioned too that I liked a lot is that it's not just residential. Tell me a little bit about the commercial things you're seeing. You're seeing some really cool, different type of, hybrid stuff. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what's going on there that you guys are managing.
Yeah, so we manage a building in Layton, Utah currently, and it was an old building called the Danzig Building. And it, yes, it's old. It's almost historical. I don't know what they consider historical anymore.
Yeah, is it by like the Lehigh roller mills?
No. This is up in Layton.
Layton. Up in Layton. Okay.
Up in Layton. Yep. North, not south.
Gotcha. Yep. North, not south. Yep.
And this building's been around for quite a long time, and it was owned by the Danzig family. And it's been several things. It was a bar once. It was a sporting goods store, and it was purchased by a group, and they turned it into a whole bunch of single offices. And within 6 months, we had it pretty much full.
That's right.
And it's several businesses in there, and we all collaborate with each other. So we've kind of created our own little networking group in there. We've got our own, break room. We've got the building is maintained by a cleaner, all that kind of stuff. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I was able to work with a developer up in Garden City, Bear Lake, and he is building he's 9 units that are warehouse space, retail space, and a 1-bedroom, 1-bath on top, because the biggest problem Garden City has is long-term rental.
Yes.
Everybody's short-term up there.
Yes, everybody.
Everybody is. So if you want to move a business up there, where do you put your employees?
It's tough. You got to put in probably an Airbnb for a little while.
And that's going to be expensive.
Right?
Yeah. So I think Garden City is about ready to really explode, because the master plan has about 700 units going in up there in the next 3 to 5 years.
That's incredible. The same type setup.
Well, just single family.
Yeah.
Up there that are going to be more long-term rent.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunities in Utah, like I said, to get your mortgages, to start buying, to start becoming a landlord and going from there.
Yeah, that's really cool especially on the mixed commercial stuff. It's really cool how you can do a lot with that. And the fact that you guys are already integrated and you know how to do this, you can teach, educate people how to do that instead of just. I love teaching about the residential with the mother-in-law apartment. That stuff's great.
That's easy.
But this stuff's cool. Market trends. So what are you seeing trends? You mentioned here the trend there in Garden City. Are you seeing other trends outside the United States? I know obviously for commercial, when it comes to rentals, some of these huge cities, it's rough because people are working more remote.
Correct.
But what are you seeing as far as, residential and commercial? What market trends are you seeing? Anything like super hot right now when it comes to residential? And then we'll go into commercial.
Yeah. So I think the biggest trend right now is that you're getting a more elite type renter because they're working from home. So you're getting an executive that wants a nicer home.
That's a good point.
Yes. And I'm seeing with that, they're being a little picky, which isn't bad. Because some of my landlords are like, they want
100% of their time there now.
Well, yeah, some of my landlords are like, they want what done? I don't want to build, fix that. And I'm like, hold on, this is a person that's going to take really good care of your property. Yeah, let's fix it up just a little bit, and then they're going to be home and they're going to take care of it for you. So I'm seeing that trend a lot because we're getting a lot of people from the West Coast, the East Coast that are moving into Utah. There's a lot of opportunities going on here.
A
lot of new jobs. Yep. And so these executives are coming in, they want nicer rentals. And they're usually here 2 to 3 years. They're usually not a buyer because they want to go back to their state.
Yeah.
But that leaves a good opportunity for those that have the nicer homes to flip them into rentals.
Flip them, put them in rentals, make them a little nicer because you're going to get more rent out of it.
Correct.
And to me, the peace of mind, though, is that, yes, I updated my kitchen, but how do I say this in a way of not... It just gets a more... What's the word without me being offensive on this podcast? Less trashy, okay?
Yes.
If you have a brand new kitchen, they're willing to pay more. You're going to get a more likely
100%.
opportunity of that client. There, I said it.
Yeah.
For you, as far as personal insight, I want to know what was kind of so far your most rewarding experience you've had as a property manager, just like what you guys provide for people, or do you have any experiences that you're like, this is rewarding what I do?
I think a lot of it, I mean, I get up every day and I work with some great people. I have a great staff. Corporate has just backed me up to no end. I mean,
great corporate. Shout out to my guy, Blake Sanford. You know who you are. Love you. Yeah, great dude.
I got a funny story about Blake.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you want to hear it on the podcast.
Probably not, but I want to hear it afterwards.
But I think the most rewarding is just being able to see it all come together, finding a great tenant, placing them in there, Obviously you're going to still get some work orders every now and then. I mean, houses need maintenance.
Yes.
That's just how it is. And then seeing the first time homeowner that just became a landlord that was scared to death.
Yes.
And entrusted me with this 100,000 plus,
biggest investment of their
biggest asset they have. And they thank me. Those are the rewards that I love. And I shoot for that every time. Am I perfect? No. I mean, we're going to make,
none of us are.
Yeah, we're going to make our mistakes, but as we learn and get better, my team gets better. We just go from there. So.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. This has been a phenomenal podcast. I think anyone who's interested in property management, not only just to become a property manager, but maybe they want to be one someday.
Correct.
What's a great way, Brady, for people to reach out to you, to be able to contact you to get some property management? How can we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so my website's pmihometeam.com. You can get a hold of me. My office is 385-424-0020. My office staff will answer it. I'm usually out and about. They kick me out of the office a lot.
Got to be out there.
They send me out to deal with all the owners and
That's
the tenants.
The key, though. You got the team. You got the team involved, and I've learned that when what I do is it's so important to have a good team around you because you can only do so much. I've been a one-man show.
Yeah.
Mortgages, I can tell you what.
Can't do it.
You can do good for a certain extent, and then you get to a threshold where you're like, I need a team. So appreciate you guys. You were awesome, Brady. We'll have you on again. We got to get in some more detail about stuff, but thanks for having us on our podcast, man.
Thank you.